Vinudhi Wahalathanthri, and I'm here with my 10th question set from the DBMS question series. So this video explains how to create a database using the MySQL Workbench software and create tables using that customized database. So we'll be out how to use the Workbench software to mark the relationship between the tables in the database, and we'll be also using the graphical method to insert data to the tables in the database. So in this video, we'll be talking about how to write a search query statement to find data in a database, and we'll be also talking about something new. Today, in this video, we'll be talking about how to write a join query statement to connect to a table. Okay, so let's see what are the questions we have to answer regarding this question set. So before moving on to our questions, let me show you all a small introduction to what this inner join does. Okay, so what is an inner join? So now y'all can see that I have created a presentation, a small presentation, just to get an idea about what the inner join does. So actually, what does inner join does? So let me explain. So the inner join selects all rows from both participating tables to appear in the result if and only if both tables meet the conditions specified in the on clause. So I took this definition from Google. So over here, simply what they are saying is we use an inner join to select rows from different tables to get the results specifically. So you can use the inner join with the departments and employees table to select all the employees in each department. So I hope you didn't understand what that meant. So let me explain it more thoroughly. So let's take one table. So let's think this is our department table, and our second table will be the employees table. So the combination of this will give our final result. So we can take two tables, combine it, and once they have been combined, we can take the result specifically. So this is how the inner join works. So there are different types of inner joins. So these are the examples for other joins: the full outer join, the left outer join, the right outer join, as well as the inner join. So in this video, we'll be talking about the inner join. So in my next videos, we'll be talking about these other inner joins as well. So let's see the questions regarding this join. So let's move on to the questions. Level Central College was the only active school in the area during the war season. There were only 15 students in the school. Also, there were only 5 teachers, and one of them was the principal of the school. The principal decided to add all students' details in a student's attendance marking system so he would be able to mark the attendance after the main morning assembly at once. Think you are a reputed database engineer, and the principal requested to make a database while another developer is developing the system. So the details has been given below. So over here, we have to create the database to mark the attendance of the students in the Level Central College. So in this video, we'll be creating this database using the MySQL Workbench. So let's see what are the instructions given to create this database. So these are the tables we have to create. So our first instruction given is create a database named Level School and insert these data to the tables graphically. So now we have to create this the database Level School. Okay, so now I will open my MySQL Workbench. So let's begin to create this database. So I'm going to create this database using an ER diagram. So I hope you'll know how to create one now. So I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to create a new model. Okay, so now you all can see that I have arrived to my model overview. Okay, so now I will rename my MySQL schema. Okay, so now I'll rename the references, so our database name will become the Cavity Go Lab School. So now I'll rename the references. Okay, so now it has been renamed. So let's begin to create the ER diagram. So I'll click on this Add Diagram option. So now y'all can see that I have arrived to my ER diagram designing platform. So let's see what are the tables we have to create. Okay, so these are the tables we have to create regarding this database. So we have the student table, the grade table, the village table, and the transport table. Okay, so in my previous videos, I hope you'll notice that before adding data to the table, they have given the structure of the table, the column name, the data type, and the length. So over here, they haven't given that. So we have to use the knowledge of our previous videos, and we have to add the most appropriate data type and the length to these columns. So over here, let's talk about the columns over here. So if we take the student table, we have to add the number table, the name table, and the birthday table, and the grade, village, and transportation method table. So y'all can, I hope you'll notice that we have another extra tables as the grade, village, and transport. So y'all can, I hope y'all can see that this looks like a foreign key has been added. Why? Y'all can see that IDs of every single data type has been loaded over here. So over here, what they have done is they have added a foreign key. So I think it's still not clear for y'all. So when we're talking about when we are creating the ER diagram, y'all get an idea of what I'm telling. So now let's begin by creating the student table first. So I'll go to my workbench and I'll insert a table and click on my screen. So let's begin by the student table, double click on our table created, and let's edit it. So our first table is student. And now let's begin to add the columns. So our first column is number. So the most appropriate data type for this is int. So I'm going to give an auto increment for this as well. So why am I going to give an auto increment for this? So y'all can see that we haven't added a water 10 for this. Why? Because y'all can see that according to the rows, only the IDs has been added. So therefore, we can type a int as the data type. So therefore, I can give auto increment. So according to the number of children loading, we can add the IDs. So it will be automatically added. So the name, we can give a water 45, and for the birthday, we can give data types like date. For grade, we can give a int, and also for the village, we can give a int, and the transportation method also we can give a int. So let's begin to create these columns. Okay, so now I have created my first table. So I have inserted our number, name, and birthday. So y'all might notice that I haven't added the grade, the village, and the transportation method. Why? Because we'll be adding a relationship through the tables to create a foreign key. So therefore, it will be automatically added. But when we are creating the tables graphically, we have to insert those columns because we have to reference the table and we have to check the column we have to add. So therefore, we have to create those columns. But when we are drawing an ER diagram, that won't be necessary. So likewise, let's create the rest of our tables as well. So now we all can see that I have created the rest of our tables as well. So let's talk about the tables that I have created. So for our village table, I have given for the ID a int, and for the village, I have given a water 45. And if we consider about the grade table, for the ID I have given int, and for the grade I have given an int as well, because it will be a number. And for our transport table, I have given an int for the ID, and for our transportation method, I have given a water 45. So now let's add the relationships between these tables. So now now we have to add these foreign keys. So now let's begin to add a foreign key. So I'll be taking student as our many side and village as the one side. So likewise, I'll do the same method for the grade as well and for the transportation method as well. So now we have done creating our tables and we have completed adding our relationships as well. So this is how it should look like. So now let's forward engineer this and let's see how it will be viewed in our Heidi SQL. So I'll forward engineer it. So it has been successfully forward engineered. So let's see how it will be viewed in our Heidi SQL software. So we'll disconnect this and connect it. Okay, so I'll give my password. And now let's reopen it. And let's see whether our table has been created. Tables has been created. So, okay. So Capital Level School DB has been created likewise. So let's see how it's viewed. So let's go to data. Okay, so that's our grade table. This is our student table. And this is our transport table. And this is our village table. So let's move on to our question set to see what is our next instruction. After you created the database, the principal wanted to check your database for bugs. He has given you some scenarios. Read them carefully and write queries to get results. Okay, so before writing queries, we have to add these data for our tables. So let's begin by our student table. So I'll be adding these data in our Heidi SQL software. So now let's begin to add data. So I hope you'll know how to add one now. So I'll first insert a row and now let's begin to add the data. Okay, so likewise, I have added data graphically to my student table. So before creating my student table, I have created my grade table, the transport table, and my village table, and I have inserted the data to it. So this is how I have added the data graphically, and these are the data loaded in the student table. So let's see what our next instruction is. So now after you create the database, the principal wanted to check your database for bugs. He has given you some scenarios, read them carefully and write queries to get the results. So our first scenario is select all students who study in grade 6. So now we are going to use a join query. So I hope you got an idea on what a join query is. So let me show you all how we are going to write a join query. Okay, so let's begin by typing a select query. So as we have to search the data, let's begin by typing a select query like select all from Capital Level School student. So now let's execute this query and let's see what are the outputs we get. Okay, so likewise, everything has been loaded. So let's type our next query. So this is all the students in the Capital Level School student table. So now let's begin to write this join query. So we are going to type select all from Capital Level School student. So we are going to write select all from Capital Level School student. And now I'm going to use a condition as inner join. So this is how we type it. Select all from Capital Level School student. And now we have to inner join the grade. Firstly, we have to inner join the grade and then I'll give an on clause. So why do I give this on close? So I'm going to give an on close to check whether that table is matching with the table we are connecting. So that's why I'm going to add a on close. So inner join grade dot grade on. So we have connected grade on the student dot. So we have given grade ID. So next I'll check whether it's equal to grade dot ID. So I'm checking whether it's equal to our grade in the ID in our grade table. So now this is how you write the inner join. So next I'm going to filter it by giving a where condition, and I'm going to add where grade dot grade is equal to 8. So over here in our question they have asked grade 6. So we have to type as grade 6. So my bad. So grade 6. So let's execute this query and see what happens. Okay, so now you all can see that all the students in that grade 6 has been loaded likewise. So this is how we write the inner join. Select all from capital level school that student inner join grade, and then we have to give an on condition on close to check whether the student that grade ID is equal to the grade that ID in the grade table. And then I have filtered it by giving a where condition to check whether the grade that grade is equal to 6. So this is the answer for our first question. Let's see what our next question is. Select the birthdays of the students who come from Padaviya by bus. Okay, so we have to select a multiple data from this. So now let's begin to write it. So I'll begin from the beginning. So we'll type select all from capital level dot student. And now let's execute it. Okay, so these are the students in this table, and let's inner join. So first let's inner join our village table. So we'll give village and we'll give the on condition to check the matching pairs. So I'll give village. So we have connected village on our student table. So I'll give on student dot so village ID, and then we give an equal to check whether village dot village ID. So over here I have given a equal to check whether student dot village ID is equal to village ID. So next let's inner join the transport table. So I'll inner join the transport table likewise, and then I'll give the on condition to check the matches. So student dot and transport ID, and we'll check whether it's equal to the ID in our transport table, transport.id. Okay, so now let's begin to filter it. Where, so our question is where the transportation method is bus and the village is Padaviya. So we'll first give our village. So let's give where village dot village is equals to Padaviya, and we'll give an AND condition, and let's take the transport dot transportation method is equals to, let's take bus. Okay, so now let's execute it. Okay, so so that's not all. So now you can see that all the details has been loaded of the students who are coming from Padaviya by bus. So now in the question they have asked the birthdays. So therefore I'm going to type student dot birthday. So as we only need the birthday, let's execute it. Okay, so now this is the answer for the second question. So select student birthday from capital level school that student, inner join village, inner join transport, and then I have filtered it with a where condition. So this is the answer for our second question. Let's move on to our third one. Select the names of the students who study at grade 9 and come from Mihintale on foot. So now we have to take the data of the students. So only the names. So we have to select the names, study at grade 9, come from Mihintale and foot. So we have multiple data over here. So I'll begin from over here. So I'll delete these. So it will be more easier. So I'll take this part. Select all from capital go level dot student. Okay, execute it. And next we'll inner join our grade table first. Inner join grade, then we'll give our on condition on students dot to grade ID. We'll check whether it's equal to the ID in our grade table. So grade dot ID, and then we'll next inner join our village table, and we'll give the on condition. So we'll take the student dot village ID. Let's check whether it's equal to the ID in the village table. And next, let's give the inner join for the transport table. And we'll give the on condition, and we'll give student dot transport ID. Sorry, this is dot student dot transport ID is equal to transport dot ID. Okay, so now let's begin to filter it. So where, let's give a where condition. Well, village is equal to Mihintale and grade is equals to 9, and let's take the transportation method. Or that transportation method is equals to foot. Okay, so let's execute it. Okay, so these are the students in grade 9 who come from Mihintale and come by foot. Okay, so over here they are only asking the names of the students. So I'll give select student dot name, and let's execute it. Okay, so Vatsala Shani and Amarabandhu Rupa Singha are coming from Mihintale and they are in grade 9, coming by foot. So this is the answer for the third question. So that's it for our 10 question set. So I hope you understood what I explained. So thank you everyone for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be back with a new video. So until that, stay tuned. Have a nice day.